The DOJ is launching 2 more lawsuits against states offering in-state college tuition to undocumented students, arguing that they receive benefits unavailable to many out-of-state U.S. citizens. This legal fight is causing some confusion, though, for students in states that have already ended tuition equity policies. Experts say the battle could cause a ripple effect if more states follow. NewsNation digital senior justice reporter Samee Ali is with us, and she's been looking into what happens if the DOJ ends in-state tuition for undocumented students. How many states are we talking about here, and what are they trying to change?
So right now, the Department of Justice has filed lawsuits against a total of 12 states. 5 of those states voluntarily withdrew their policies after the DOJ started cracking down on this last year. So right now, their battle is about with 7 states right now, largely blue states.
And what have you uncovered about the arguments on either side of this?
The Department of Justice is arguing that it violates federal law for a state to offer a college benefit to an undocumented student that's not available to an out-of-state U.S. citizen. So an undocumented student in Massachusetts should not be getting an in-state tuition rate that a U.S. citizen in Connecticut is getting. So they're essentially saying that you cannot tie it to residency, and that because of that, you're violating federal law. Now, the other side, they are saying it's not tied to residency. These are students who grew up in these communities. They went to grade school, middle school, high school there, and then they're going off to college. So they're saying that this is tied to where you went to school, not just residency. So therefore, that doesn't violate federal law. So it's going to be really up to courts to decide who's right on this.
Okay, how do schools feel about it? I mean, do they stand to lose tuition?
They stand to lose a lot of tuition. So the ripple effects can be pretty broad if the DOJ ends up winning. So what people have to understand is that these students are not getting free tuition. They're still paying the in-state rate, which is, about $10,000, $12,000 a year.
It's a lot less.
It's a lot less, but you're still paying. Now, if all of those students all of a sudden didn't get that rate, colleges would lose a pretty significant chunk of revenue, which means they would have to potentially cut jobs, they would have to end certain academic programs, social services, which will affect all students, not just undocumented students.
The more states that become involved in this, you have to wonder, does it rise to the level of Supreme Court? Are you hearing inklings that may be on track?
We are a long ways from there, but it certainly can and probably will take that path. Now, right now, we're sort of in the initial phases where the DOJ has filed its lawsuits. Okay. It then has to be figured out by courts, and there's going to be a long appeals process. But then after that, I mean, this is certainly something that's probably not out of the realm of possibility for the Supreme Court.
Have you talked to families who are concerned about which way this goes, who have kids who are going off to college this fall, and how long things maintain status quo?
Well, we already see a preview of what could happen in those 5 states that voluntarily withdrew policies. And now these policies have been in some of these states for 25 years, and they just abruptly ended when these states voluntarily withdrew. And what we're seeing there is that students have dropped out of college. They're cutting back on course loads. They're transferring schools. Some have even turned to fundraising to pay for tuition because they don't know what's going to be happening as this moves forward.
Got it. Interesting. Well, you've got some good investigative reporting on it. Thank you for updating us.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.